Hello Reborners, my name is Karen and this is Making Dolls with Karen. We're back with Summer Rain and I did not seal her. I know I said I was going to, but I didn't. I decided that probably with the paint applied already, it would stick better this time. And she's a little lopsided. I may have some of these rags not exactly even in her head. Restuff her here a little bit. See, can we level that out just a little bit? It doesn't usually hurt anything because when you stuff it at the end, you're pushing out the part that looks synced in. But I want to keep her as round as I can. Anyway, I'm gonna get one of these brushes back here from the back that look like they're dry. My problem was my brushes were too wet yesterday, and most of them had to be re-dipped, so I'm looking for a dry one now to try to give her a little more blush because she's just not to the blushy level that I think she should be. This blush will never make it to the end. It's too light, and I want it a little bit darker. So I'm just buffing it up a little. The problem yesterday was that when I was applying the blush, it was coming off. It was leaving a little spot where the blush wasn't taking, and I didn't like that. And so I stopped and baked her. And I was thinking, oh, it's gonna be a problem with the sealer. I'm probably gonna have to reseal her. But then I decided it was probably just the paint, because it was too wet. And so I decided not to reseal her, and I'm kind of glad I did because that would have just been too much. I'm gonna give her some eyebrows. Not with light umber though. I want that lighter color. Here it is, Sandbar Brown. That's the color I use because it's very light. If you want darker brows, after you put them on with this, you can darken them up with another color, but I use this one because it's the lightest and it's easiest to take off if you want to remove it because you didn't do it like you like it or something. And she doesn't have a very defined brow ridge, so it's going to be a little bit tougher to give her eyebrows than normal. I just etch them on there very carefully, and it's a little bit hard on this slicker sealer. It usually takes a little better than this though. She's gonna have very light eyebrows. You probably can't even see them on camera because, well, it's not riding very good because she's got that slicker sealer on her. The more rough your sealer is, the better it's going to take pencil and stuff like that. And also color. It'll take the color better too if it's slicker. I mean, rougher. I hate to have to once again bake her again because her blush wasn't dark enough, but we want to get it right. That's what we want to actually do. We don't want to hurry. And if that's what it takes, well, then that's what it takes. I'm going to redo her nails and lips too. We want to build that color up. And the quicker we do it, the quicker we can stop doing it. It's just becomes something you have to remember every step. Oh, I better do that again, you know. And it becomes something that's easily skipped because you didn't remember, oh yeah, I was building up the lips still, or the nails, or the inside of the nostrils, or whatever you're trying to build up. The quicker you can build those things up, the better it actually is because, like I said, it's easy to forget when you start putting the layers on. You're not concentrated on enhancements anymore, and it just is easily forgotten. Usually once you build up the lips and nails, you don't have to keep doing it because the paint will not take it away. The normal paint, you know, the layers that you put on them are usually don't affect anything to do with the enhancements. They're usually there for the whole duration. The one that usually goes away the most is creasing. And It's a booger. I'm gonna have to redip this one. I'm just gonna lay it down. I'm gonna see if there's enough on here to put a little more blue on the bottom of her feet, because they didn't get very blue from the last go around. It just almost looks white. And that's not a good look. That should buff it up a little. I'm gonna also repaint her nails and her lips and put some more color in her nose. Because, well, we have to build that too. Usually when you are having to put multiple layers on the nails, it's also because of a sealer problem most of the time. The sealer's not even, or the sealer's not enough, or it was a slicky sealer or something like that. Your sealer does matter, and the kind I like the best, that I've found works actually the actual best of all the ones I've used, this is for heat set people now, is Gemini. Even if you're not going to paint with Gemini paint, it's perfectly okay to use Gemini sealer. They call it varnish, matte varnish. But this varnish is the same thing as sealer. I mean, they don't make a different varnish and a different sealer. Some companies do, but it's all in one. And I put a coat on my dolls first, bake them twice, cooling in between completely. And when I say completely, they need to feel like they were sitting in your room overnight or something. They don't feel a bit warm, not a bit. And that cures the sealer. And then you can paint the doll and not worry about it won't take the paint or any of that stuff. Pay close attention to the fact, especially on Gemini sealer, that you're spreading it out nice and even. You do not want to have big, thick coats of paint on your doll. In fact, the Gemini instructions go like this. You can cut it, but we recommend you don't. And put it on as thin as possible, pouncing off any excess with a clean sponge. I don't like those directions. I'm the rule breaker, so I always go my own way. I like to cut it. It is too rough if you don't. Here's what I do. I take a jar, usually one of these big 8-ounce jars, and I was putting about 3 or 4 of these in there, this size. But I'm buying it in a much bigger container now. It's actually, this is like 1/2 ounce in this little container. But the container I buy mine in now is 4 ounces. It's so much cheaper that way. Yes, you have to put out a little bit more money at one time, but in the long run, you're getting way more sealer for your money. So you're going to put the equivalency just by eyeballing it. You do not have to measure anything for this, of about 3 to 4 jars this size. So half the thing, 2 ounces maybe, into your big 8-ounce jar. And you'll have to use a stick. It's gooey and sticky and stretchy and gross. And then I put a portion from my other giant jar of thinning medium. I was putting 1 jar of this, of thinning medium, that size. And I mix it very, very thoroughly before I start putting in the paint thinner. After you've mixed it very, very thoroughly, you can start to add a little at a time of paint thinner. You don't want to put too much, because it will get very runny then. But you do want to cut it down to where it's not so thick and globby. I don't like it globby like that. I want it smooth to go on smooth. But you still need to try to put it on sort of, probably not as thin as they say. I watched a video. They had a video down in the description of the actual sealer, and it was a lady applying it to a belly plate. And she applied it to about, I don't know, one side of the belly plate, I guess. I don't know. She didn't do the whole thing. She did a portion of it. And then there was like a pause because she baked it. And when she came back, she was bending the belly plate in all different directions to show you that it wouldn't crack. And then she took out a Prisma pencil and wrote on it, and to show you that you could write on it. It was very informative, but I didn't like the method of putting on the sealer. She put it on straight from the jar, and I will show you how it is straight from the jar, and I will show you how it is in my jar. They're very different, and mine works very well. If you're putting it on straight, you're going to use a lot of sealer. A lot. And it's kind of expensive. It's hard to put it on when it's that stretchy and gooey. To me it is anyway. Okay, she's painted. I'm going to let her sit there for a minute while I show you my sealers. Let me jiggle this around in this little drop of paint thinner that's in my cup here. I just keep the tiniest amount because it evaporates. And you can no longer smell it. All the smell evaporated much long ago. Okay, this is the jar of matte varnish. And this is nothing has been done to this. And as you can see, it's like globs. It's just like a glob. See, it's just globby. Real globby. It's harder to put on that way because it's so thick and globby. And if you've had it very long at all, it becomes stretchy kind of. Almost like cheese on a hot pizza. It'll stretch like that. Now the thinning medium, on the other hand, is thin. You can just pour it right out of this jar. It's very thin. It's watery and thin. See, and when I say water, I don't mean actual water, but you see it just runs right off the stick. But when you combine them, you're going to combine about 1/4 the amount of thinning medium that you put, whatever amount you put of your matte varnish. I can't get this lid on straight. There we go. Whatever portion you put of your matte varnish, you want about 1/4 of that in thinning medium. And I put it in this jar right here. And after I've mixed it very thoroughly, I just start adding some paint thinner. And what we're looking for is something in between those two consistencies. It runs off but not fast. It's not as thin as the thinning medium, but it's not as thick as that matte varnish is either. It's somewhere in between. And this is easy to use. I just get some on my stick, spread it on a sponge, and just start pouncing it on the doll. And it has a wet kind of glassy look. And when it dries, now if you put too much of this on there, it's going to turn white, but it won't hurt your doll. All you're going to need to do is a couple of extra bakes to get rid of that white. It usually goes right away. In fact, when I was first putting paint on Summer Rain, I'd only baked her twice and she still had a little bit of white on her. I could see it. But I knew that it wasn't anything to worry about because it's going to come off when you're baking. It's not going to affect the look of the doll at all. It's just sealer that hasn't cured completely. And what you need to do is just bake it another time. I didn't notice it till I'd already started baking her, and painting her. And then I noticed that on a couple of places, like up on her legs up here or somewhere, you could see a little bit of white residue, but it's gone now. It's completely gone. When I baked her for her first coat of all this enhancements, it went away. The rest of it went away. And it doesn't affect the outcome of your doll. I'm going to point back to the Carol kit that I've told you about numerous times. She was covered in it. I mean, all over her. And I just started painting her, and through the painting, and I guess the paint having a little bit of paint thinner in it, it thinned it down, and it just got rid of all that white color. And Summer Rain doesn't have any of that white on her anymore. None. She doesn't have any anywhere. I could see it very good before she baked her this last time that she baked. She's a little stark here. But anyway, she's going to get back in for another bake now. And when we come back, she will be ready for her layers. I'm not sure if I can write on her now. It was possible that the reason I couldn't write on her before was that her sealer wasn't completely cured. And even though it's not ideal, it is writing better than it was. Usually the rule is the rougher your texture is on your doll, the better you can write on them with a pencil. You'll get some marks on a doll that doesn't have any sealer on it at all, but you won't get nice, clean, crisp lines. Like if you wanted to put hair on there, you'd have little skips in it, or it would be grainy looking because it's not fully covering. But you would be able to write on it some. Just like I'm able to write on this some. The sealer's not, I probably didn't put it on thick enough. I had so little bit of it left that I cut it a little bit more so it would last, which was probably not a good idea. And so, I mean, it's enough to hold the paint, but it's certainly not a good cover. She probably needs a little more cover, but I don't want to take the time to do it. She'll come out okay. She's got enough on her for painting. But if you're wanting to put pencil lines on her, you would need to have a better seal. I'm getting some pencil lines on her, but here's the thing: they may not hold at all because of her bad seal job. She is not sealed properly at all. Trying to get her feet a little bit drier so I can write, maybe put a little bit. It is writing better than it was the last time when I was trying to write on her, when before I baked her again, when she still had the white residue on her. It's writing a little bit better, but not tremendously. And it's a good chance this won't stay too. Anyway, that's about as good as I'm going to be able to do on creasing. I didn't give her any, I only gave her that one vein on her head. I didn't give her any on her limbs, and I didn't give her any capillaries or anything like that. So I'm keeping her kind of simple. My friend is not a fan of those sort of things. So I'm just not giving her that much of that stuff. So anyway, we're going to get her in for her bake, and we'll be back after she's cooled and ready to start taking some layers. So please remember to like, subscribe, and share, and happy reborning.